Hi everyone, I'm Michele from Missoun. In this short video, I show you how the Missoun PLM platform manages the status and the revisions of items. We enter the application with an engineer role. The application shows us the list of items configured by a bicycle manufacturer. The item page shows the status of each item in the column state. We can also see these statuses by opening the drop-down list in the filters on top. And here we can see that three different statuses are supported for the items. The draft status, the item can be modified. The released status, the item cannot be modified without a new revision. And the obsolete status, the item has been discontinued in this specific case. Let's see together how the statuses of the items are managed in the application. We can create, for example, a new item by using the button New. And from here, we can define a new item in the category Saddle, for example. The article will be created in the draft status. As you can see, the part number is automatically generated by the algorithm that has been associated to that category. We define the revision A. We can set the name as the part number. Unit of measure is each. We choose the life cycle phase prototype, and we define the text we like for the description. It is an open text field, so we can just write scenario video and use the same text also for the notes. We click on save and the new item has been created. We can filter on the category Saddle, we can search, and we can immediately see the new item in the first line with the status draft. So in this status, we can modify the item. For example, we can attach a file to the item by accessing here the details. We see that there is the possibility to edit the item or to release the item. So in that case, to change its status. But first, let's see how we can make a modification to the item by clicking on Edit. Here you can see the fields that can be modified. In this case, we would like, for example, to attach a file to the item itself. So we can go to the Attachment tab. Here we can click on New. We can browse a file. We select the file, and the file will be added to our item. So we closed the edit view. And now that we have applied this modification to the item, we go back to the first tab. We can see all the information, and we can, for example, release the item so that the item will be in the release status and it will not be possible to change it anymore in that specific release. Because as you can see now, once the item is in the release status, we can just create a new draft version, so that will be a new release of the item, or we can declare the status of the item as obsolete. So basically the item will be deprecated. If we go now to the Attachment tab, you can see that the Edit tab is not available, and we can access the file, we can view the file and the information about the item, but we cannot apply any modification to the item. What I want to show you now is that we can create a new revision of this item. So let's say we would like to apply a modification to this item. Then we need to create a new draft of the item itself and define a new revision of the item. So we click on New Draft. We can see now the fields that we can modify. The revision of that item is A. If we try to click on Save Now, of course, the application is alerting us that no, we cannot keep the revision A because that's already existing. We need to define a new one. So we define revision B. We can now save. And in this case, we can also appreciate the redlining feature of Missoun PLM that is showing us the new revision and the new created date in green, and is also showing the information about the previous release. As you can see, the characters in red with the strike through. If we go to the main page and we still select on category, we can search, and here we will find both the revision of the same part number. We have revision A in the release status and revision B in the draft status. That's the one we just created. We can access the draft version, and here we can now modify this item because it is in draft status. So for example, we just remove the file that we attached to the item when it was still in the first revision A. And also in this case, we can still access all the details of the item itself. Now let's check a new step. I mean, what if we wanted to release this version of the item? Because you can see that the available buttons correctly are the release button and the edit button, which are the functionalities available for the items in status draft. If we try to release this item, of course, we get an alert from the application because we cannot have two revisions of the same item in the released status, because as you remember, the revision A is already released status. So if we want to release revision B, we need first to go back to the revision A. So that's why we search and we try to access revision A, and we need to declare it obsolete. In that case, it will be possible to change the status of revision B from draft to released. So now we have revision A in the obsolete status, so we can release revision B. In this case, we will not get any message of error. The revision B is now in status released. Another aspect that is interesting about the status obsolete is that from that status, it is possible still to move to the draft status. So you can see here the button which is available. Of course, you cannot release an item in obsolete status, but you can still create a new draft if you like and apply modifications to that item. So to sum up what we have presented during the video, please consider that a new item is always created in draft status. That's how the application works. A second point is that in the draft status, it is possible to modify the item and it is possible to change its status to released. A third point, very much important to be considered, is in the released status, it is not possible to make changes to the article. It is required to create a new revision of the item if any kind of modification is required on that item. Being a new revision, once you created a new revision of that item, the status of the item will be draft. Another point that we mentioned is that it's not possible to have two revisions of the same item in the status released, just one is admitted. Also consider that only released item can be declared obsolete. You cannot move to the obsolete status if you are in the draft status. That's not possible. And then last point that we have seen together during the video is from the obsolete status, it is still possible to create a draft revision of the article. Thank you for your attention. If you have any further questions on the subject, feedbacks on the video, or on the Missoun PLM platform, you can contact us via the contact page at the website missoun.com. See you soon and have a good day.